Hello, fourth graders. This is Mrs. Cassett here, and I'm going to go ahead and teach you 7-8 in your math workbook, which is division measurement number stories. So we will be working with converting some measurements on this as well as division. You can see in front of you that there's a story problem. Emily poured an entire 2-liter container of apple juice into 8 separate glasses. Each glass held the same amount of liquid. How many milliliters did each glass hold? So knowing that, the first thing I want to do is the question is asking us milliliters. Our information is telling us liters. So I want to convert that. So 2 liters equals how many milliliters? So I don't know if you guys remember when we talked about this. This was some time ago. There was 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. So if we have 2 liters, it would be double that. It would be 2,000 milliliters. Okay, so that's how many milliliters of apple juice she has to start with. So knowing that, now we have to divide that into the 8 different glasses. So we have 2,000 divided by 8. Okay, so we can start with the fact that we know we can start with our friendly numbers. We could start with 10. 8 times 10 is 80. Well, that doesn't get us close in the slightest. So we want to make a big jump here, and I'm going to go 8 times 100. So 8 times 100 would get me 800. So that gets me a lot closer, but 800 is still quite a bit smaller than 2,000. So I'm going to make another jump, and I'm going to go to 200. 8 times 200 gets me 1,600, and I like that. So I'm going to subtract that, and I'm left with 400. Now, 8 times 100 was 800, so I know it's smaller than that, and so I'm going to start with my 10. 8 times 10 is 80. That's quite a bit smaller. Let's go to 8 times 4. 8 times 4 is 332, so 8 times 40 is 320. So let's go to 5. 8 times 5 is 40, so 8 times 50 is 400. Perfect. So my answer is 250. So each glass has 250 milliliters of apple juice. So our next story problem says the fourth graders at Basilone Elementary School voted to hold their spring celebration at a local skating rink. Fourth grade student council is in charge of renting the skating rink and planning the celebration. Help the student council make plans by answering the question below. So the skating rink can be rented for a full session or a half session. A half session, which is half as long as a full session. Weird. A full session is 7 hours and 30 minutes. The student council wants to rent the skating rink for half a session. How many minutes long is half a session? Okay, so we have to figure out how long half of a session is. So basically, we have 7 hours and 30 minutes, and we need to cut that in half. Well, if it was 8 hours, you get 4 hours for half a session. So that's an easy way to look at it. But we have 7 hours and 30 minutes, and we have to figure out how big half of that is. So we're going to take 7 hours and 30 minutes and divide that in half. But first, we have to change it all into minutes, okay? You have to make it all into minutes first. So 7 times 60 is what? So I'm going to make a note over that over here. 60 times 7, because there's 60 minutes in an hour, is 6 times 7 is 42. Add my 0, so I have 420 minutes. 420 minutes, divided by 2. Okay, and my unknown is my answer. Okay, so I have 420 minutes divided by 2. So I'm going to write out that division problem, or you may even be able to think about this in your head, you guys. You guys are getting to the point where you should be able to start thinking, okay, half of 420, well, half of 4 is 2, half of 2 is 1, half of 0 is 0. So that would be 210 minutes, okay? So 210 minutes. Okay. That is how long that session is. Now let's change that back into hours and minutes. If we count by 60s, where could we end up? So 60 times 1 is 60, 60 times 2 is 120, 60 times 3 is 180. So I'm going to say 60 times 4 is 240, so that's too high. So 3 hours and 280 minus, or 210 minus 180 would leave me with, so if I count out from, so if I do 210 minus 180, I'm going to say 0. Oh, it's not working. 11 minus 8 is 30. So 3 hours, 30 minutes. Perfect. So 3 hours and 30 minutes. Does that make sense? It doesn't quite make sense because Mrs. Cassett forgot a step. I forgot about this 30 minutes right here. So half of 30 would be 15, so I need to add 15 more minutes onto this. So it's 3 hours and 45 minutes. You guys should see, looking at that teachers make mistakes sometimes too. But when I looked at that, I questioned it and I thought, does this make sense? And I thought, no, because 3 hours and 30 minutes doubled is 7 hours. And I forgot about that 30 extra minutes. So those are the kinds of questions you should ask yourself when you're doing work as well, is does this make sense? Okay, now what we are going to do is we're going to do one more, and then you guys are going to be challenged to do the next two together, okay? So let's do number 3, okay? So Tara, the president of Student Council, wants to decorate the handrail around the skating rink with balloons. She wants each string tying a balloon to the handrail to be about 5 feet long. If she has 60 yards of string, how many balloons can she tie to that handrail? Okay, so again, one we're talking about feet, and one we are talking about yards. You cannot do a problem that has feet and yards. You need to turn them all to feet or all to yards. Well, 5 feet doesn't turn into yards evenly, so let's turn everything into feet. So 60 yards is how many feet? So the first thing I need to figure out is that, and that's 60 yards times, there are 3 feet in a yard, equals what? So 6 times 3 is 18, and then I bring my 0. Awesome. So I have 180 yards of string, 180 feet, excuse me, of string. So I need to figure out 180 divided by, I can do that symbol again, guys. 5 equals what? Okay, that's what I'm going to try to figure out here. So I'm going to set that up. 180 divided by 5. So I know it's going to work because it ends in a 0, so I'm not going to have any remainder here. So 5 times 10 is 50, not big enough. 5 times 20 is 100. 5 times 30 is 150. Let's start with that. So let's start with 30. That gets me pretty darn close. 30 minus 150. That leaves me with 30. And 5 times what is 30? 5 times 6. So I have 36. Ran out of room there, guys. Sorry. Okay, so 36. So the question was, how many balloons can she tie to the handrail? She can tie 36 balloons. All right, so hopefully you guys are seeing how there's multiple steps to these problems, that you can't just divide, you can't just subtract or add or multiply. All of these problems will involve some sort of division, but all of them will also involve a first step. So like looking at number 4, you're talking about gallons and ounces. You have to remember how many ounces are in a gallon, or how many cups are in a gallon, excuse me. If you don't remember you're on a computer right now. Google is your friend. You can always ask Google how many cups are in a gallon to help you start with this. Tara wants to set up 5 water coolers. She buys 80 gallons of water. How many cups will she fill? Use the information you have there and use the resources that you have in front of you with computers to solve number 2 and 4, please. So I want you to solve 2 and 4 in your workbook. Do your best, work your hardest. I know these aren't easy. They involve multiple steps, so you really have to take the time to see what's there, look to see what you do know, look to see what you don't know, and take the steps that you need to help you solve those problems, okay? I miss you lots. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.